Man, what's poppin', man? Hey, man, I'm gonna tell y'all a quick little story real quick. So it was me and my brother at the trap this day, right? It's this dude that we call old school, you know what I'm saying? Old school came by, you know what I'm saying? He chopping it up with us, and he got him a little hair run. So he on the couch, he shooting it up and everything, right? So, you know what I'm saying? He telling us about the old days, telling us about the cars that he had, the money that he had, and the women that he used to be around. And I know that he not lying because my uncle and him took a few pictures when they had their old school cars, when they had the money flossing and everything. So as he's sitting there, I was like, hey, man, you had all that. What made you start doing drugs and abusing the drugs that you were selling? He said, man, look, I'm going to tell you why. His mama had him when she was 16 years old. When he was 2 years old, his mama dropped him off over his grandparents' house, and she ended up running out with this older dude that she was supposedly in love with. The older dude manipulated his mama and convinced her to drop him off with his grandparents so they could run off and start their own life. So with his mama being 18, she legally grown. His grandparents couldn't do anything about it. But he said his grandparents, both his grandma and his granddaddy, asked everybody that she knew, what could she be at? Could they get in contact with her? They try to get in contact with his mama. They try to find the boyfriend and get in contact with his people or get in contact with the boyfriend. But it was no hope. So the only thing that he remember of his mama is the photos of his mama that she took when she was a little younger, and the 1 or 2 photos that him, his mama, his granddaddy, and his grandma took together. So he really didn't have any recognition of his mama at all. So with him being with his grandma and granddaddy, they was the only people that he ever knew growing up. His granddaddy died when he was 10 years old, so now it's just him and his grandmama left. Growing up, his granddaddy was his daddy, and his grandma was his mama. So when his granddaddy died, he took it real heavy. He took it heavy on his heart because he ain't got no daddy no more. He don't know his real father, and he don't know his real mama. Yeah, he got a couple photos of his mama, but he couldn't see his mama, and he couldn't recognize his mama, and she stood right next to him. He doesn't know her. So it's just him and his grandmama left. He started hitting the streets. He started stealing, robbing, breaking into cars, breaking into houses, fighting, toting guns, and he even got kicked out of school. His grandma tried to pray for him and tried to bring him to church, but he was a renegade around this time, so she just prayed for him and let him do him. So he started stealing his grandmama's car. He started stealing money out of her purse. He started doing everything that he could. One night, while his grandma was asleep, he was going to steal her keys and steal her car. So he opens up her door. He said the door was squeaky that night. So what he'll do is, if the door is squeaky, he'll go in the kitchen, he'll get like a little water spray bottle, and he'll spray the hinges. So whenever you press the door open, or whenever you pull it closed, it won't squeak or make any noise. So he said he crept in his grandmama's room. He was real quiet. So he said he stopped. He looked at her in the bed. She wasn't waking up. So he went straight to the kitchen, grabbed the little spray bottle, sprayed the hinges down, and he pushed it open. It was real quiet. So now he sees her purse right there on the side of the bed on the nightstand. So he creeps up to it. He holding his breath so he won't wake up if he breathing too hard. He takes the keys. He holds them up by his index finger and his thumb, and he's tiptoeing his way out. So he closes her door softly. He goes inside his room. He get his weed and his little cocaine, because back then he said that he was smoking weed and doing cocaine. He was just living ruthless. He climbs out of his bedroom window and he lets down the window real soft and light. And he runs to his grandmama's car and he puts it in neutral and he pushes it down the driveway and he pushes it down the street and he starts it up so he can go ahead and drive off. So he doing his little cocaine, you know what I'm saying? He high. He was turning up the music. He was smoking him a blunt. He said, man, he just had him a good time. You know what I'm saying? He was speeding in and out of traffic. He said he turned down the street. And man, as he's speeding, 2 people is walking across the street. So he beeping the horn. And when he's trying to turn to the left, they end up trying to hurry up and run across the street. So he accidentally hit them. So when he hit both of the people that was walking across the street, the car started spinning. So he's trying to hold control of the steering wheel, trying to straighten it up. And he said, before you know it, he woke up and he was in the hospital. He wakes up in the hospital and he's handcuffed to the bed and his grandma's sitting there just crying and laying on his chest. And when he woke up, his grandma was just so happy. She gave him a hug and started kissing on him. And the police ended up taking him to jail. And they told him that he ended up killing one of those people that he ran over. So when he took it to court, they gave him 11 years. At the age of 15 years old, he got 11 years locked up. So as he's locked up, his grandma is fully supportive. She started sending him money. She kind of see him during visitation anytime that she could. But over the years, her health started deteriorating. See, she didn't tell her grandson how bad her health was. So when he get out of jail, he's about 26 or 27 years old now. He went to his grandma's house, and when he went there, he seen firsthand how bad of a condition that his grandmama was in. When he walked inside of his grandmama's house, she was right there with the little medical bed up in the living room. She had the oxygen tank right there, and she had the oxygen going through her nose. So when she seen him and he seen her, they locked eyes. She started smiling. She started crying. He started crying. But he noticed his grandma couldn't even lift up. She could barely lift her hand. So he went over there, he grabbed her hand, he squeezed the tight in heels, and he started kissing on her. And he started telling her that he loves her. His grandma could barely talk. In 2 days after coming home for being locked up, his grandma passed away. So the grandma ends up leaving him the house. He ended up getting a hold of some old friends that he knew before he got locked up, and they turned him on into the drug game. One day, it's his friend's birthday, and they end up going to the strip club near downtown. They pulling up in the nice cars, they got on the nice clothes, you know what I'm saying, a pocket full of money, and they having them a good time. They up in there throwing money, they up in there flirting with the females coming over there, the strippers coming over there in their section, they dancing on them, they throwing 20s, they weren't even throwing ones, they was throwing 20s, they was throwing big money. This stripper came over there, and she sat right there beside him, and he said when they locked eyes, it was like they been knowing each other forever. He said, man, over all the loud music, it seemed like nothing mattered but what was coming out of her mouth. So they exchanged numbers. The first time that they met up and went out, he took her to a nice restaurant. She told him, I'm not here for your money. I'm actually here because I'm interested in you. I'm interested in knowing all about you. And he said at first, he didn't believe it. And the way that she said it, it attracted him so much that he knew that what she was saying was really genuine. So over time, they started sharing stuff about their past, like how he didn't know his mom or his dad. He was raised by his grandmother and his granddaddy, and both of them had passed away. She started telling him about her past, like how her mom died of an overdose. She only knew her father, but her father was a Rolling Stone, and it's only her and a few of her brothers out there. So she said, well, I want to own my own nail salon, and I want to open up my own little beauty school. I want to teach people how to do hair. I'm only being a stripper because I'm trying to fund that business that I got. He started taking a real liking to this female because unlike the other ones who wanted him for the materialistic items, the money, the fame, and the lifestyle, she didn't want him for none of that. She wanted him for him. She wanted him before the money. She wanted to know all about the person before the money. She wasn't worried about the person with the money. So you know what he did? He took her out the strip club. He put money in her pocket. He bought her cars. He took her on trips. He took her on dates. He even helped her get her business started. He eventually took her to his grandmama's house. No female ever went to his grandmama's house. One day, he's taking a shower. So as he's taking a shower, he hears something fall. So he said, baby, you okay, baby? She said, yeah. But the way she said, yeah, he knew something was up. So as he's opening up the door with the towel wrapped around his waist, he sees 3 dudes with guns right there. Man, get the fuck on the ground. Get the fuck on the ground. So he's like, man, what the fuck going on? One of them holding the gun to his girl head, and the other 2 holding the gun to him. Man, get the fuck on the ground. So they start beating him. They start stomping. They beat him. The girl screaming on the bed, ah, ah. So dude, like, shut the fuck up, bitch, fuck you. Shut the fuck up. So they jump. They like, man, where the fuck the money? He said, you know, it's up in the closet. And as he's wiping the blood out of his eye, he hears a gun cock. When he opens up his eye, the girl is holding a gun to his face. So he like, baby, what's going on? What's going on? She said, yeah, so you thought you were going to get away with that shit, huh? Huh, didn't you? Didn't you? So he said, baby, what you talking about, baby? What you talking about? He's still wiping the blood. She said, put your motherfucking hands up. So he like this, and he could barely see blood all up in his eye. She said, yeah, that woman that you killed, there's my motherfucking mama. That was our motherfucking mama. You killed our motherfucking mama. You out here living your damn life. My mama's dead because of you. You killed my motherfucking mama. So he apologizing. And that's when he found out that all of this was a setup. Them 3 dudes wasn't random. Those were her brothers. And this whole time, she was playing her role this entire time to get some get back for him killing their mama. See, she already knew who he was, but that night at the club was the perfect opportunity to escalate this plan right here. So as she still pointing the gun at him, finna kill him, her brothers are rambling through everything in the house. They flipping over boxes. They grabbing as much drugs as they can. He had over he had over $250,000 up in their house. As they going through everything, they pick up something. They all look at it. All 3 of them pull out their gun and they pointed at his face. So the sister look at what they give her too. And she like, so what the fuck is this, huh? Why the fuck you got a picture of my mama right here, huh? Why the fuck you got a picture of my mama? So he like, man, nah, this my mama. So they start beating his ass. Boom, boom, boom. He said, oh, this was just swelled up. All this just swelled up. They're like, no, we finna kill this nigga right here. We finna kill this nigga right here. So the brothers cop back that thing. Boom, boom. And soon they finna pull the trigger. He said, look on the back. Look on the back. Look on the back. My name right there. My grandma, that's my mama. So they look on the back. Everybody just look at each other. Then they look at him. This they brother. The woman on this picture is their mama. This is his mama. So this whole time, that night when he grabbed his grandmama car and ran over 2 people, he ran over and killed his mama. This whole time when she think that she finna avenge her mother's death, she finna get some payback, she's finna kill her own brother. So you telling me she was sleeping with her brother, she didn't even know it. He was sleeping with his sister and he didn't even know it. So everybody just looking at each other now. So the brothers still didn't give a fuck. They still took everything they could and they ran out the house. So the sister sitting there in shock. He's sitting there bleeding. And she called 911 and she just dropped the phone right there and she ran out the house too. So he said, man, for the longest time, they just ate at him. He said he ain't talked to his sisters or his brothers since. They'd ride past and they'd see each other in public, but they just go each other's way. They don't even talk to each other. What happened was this. When the mom dropped him off at his grandparents' house and she ran out with the older dude, they started a family. The mom got encouraged to start pimping for the dude. So when she started pimping for him, she started making a family. She got hooked on the drugs, and then the foster care, CPS got called on them, and they took them away from their mama. So that's how they was never able to get in contact with each other or know about each other. Her mama actually did turn into a junkie. He never knew his mama. He never been around his mama. So he said, man, that was eating him up. And then especially when he found out that he got his own sister pregnant, and she just started doing drugs to cope with that and to get rid of the baby, and she overdosed. He said, man, I just ate him out alive right there.